Stefan in Romania writes, "Hi, Paul." Hey, Stefan. 2 days ago, I was doing a hike in the rural area around my home while listening to Pink Floyd, the Wall album, when suddenly, out of nowhere, I heard this helicopter flying above my head, except there was no real helicopter. It was part of the track I was listening to. So I thought, are we imagining where instruments or noises recorded are supposed to be? Or is that recording so good that it captured the height, as I believe they actually recorded a helicopter flying above the microphones? I've heard that track, as most of you had, a bazillion times, and it sounds like it's overhead here. I think the idea of height, width, and depth in a stereo system are really hard to wrap our heads around. Probably easier about width and depth. Why? Well, because we've heard that a lot more. On any good HiFi system that is set up properly, you'll have what we call soundstage depth, right? And that means that from the loudspeakers back, there is this artificial soundstage created. And that happens if you have your speakers pulled out enough from the wall, sitting kind of out into the room. It's never going to happen if you have them pushed up against the wall, right? So if you haven't had this experience, pull your speakers out 3 or 4 feet from the wall, get it out, a third of the way out of the room would be great, but most of us can't really do that. But pull it out, and you'll make some space for a soundstage behind and adjust your speakers. You can, if you really want to get it right, pick up a copy of my book, The Audiophile's Guide, or the stereo, or whatever books I've written out there to help you get it. But the simplest thing, pull them off from the wall, kind of set them up, should get sound from behind. And on some recordings, you'll notice the sound is very wide, some recordings it's very deep. And some recordings, we have height information. And you can experiment a little bit with this. Try this if you're interested in height information. Put on a vocal, say our go-to vocal, Norah Jones, and anything you want. And when she's singing, turn the volume up, louder than you normally would listen to that. And notice what happens to her voice. The voice gets bigger. Now we're talking about imaging here. Obviously it's going to get louder, right? But relative to everything else, that voice is going to get bigger and it's going to get taller. And all of a sudden Norah is this huge thing, right? And that's because you have the wrong volume on there and you can turn it down, and she collapses into a different size. So that's partly how all of this works. And if you record something properly, if you have a helicopter overhead and you point the microphones up at the helicopter and record it, and you mix it correctly with enough ambient cues around, which obviously they did in the wall, you'll actually get height. And it doesn't come from the floor, it comes from up above. And it's real, even with headphones like you have. So yeah, image height is real. It can be manipulated and added, and there's just a couple of examples for you. All right? Thanks for the question. Talk to you later. Bye.